So the title of this review asks the question, is this car worth $10,000 more than the base MX-5? Well, there's only one way to find out. Specifically, this is the MX-5 GT RS, and it costs just over $52,000 drive away, which does make it around $10,000 dearer than the base MX-5. So let's see what you're getting. First of all, you're getting these 17-inch BBS wheels, which are pretty nice. They're forged and they do have some Brembo brakes on the inside, but you don't get those Brembo brakes on the back. Instead, you're getting Bilstein suspension on the front and on the rear. The inside is just about the same as the GT spec MX-5, which means you're getting these nice leather seats with Bose speakers built into them. You're still getting a lightweight 6-speed manual transmission. You have a touchscreen up here, which is only partially touchscreen until you start driving. Then you also have your 3-dial layout. There is a digital display on the left for some basic trip information, but you still have that giant rev counter and your speed on the right. You still get that telescopic steering wheel, which is very useful, heated seats, manual handbrake, and you do have these cup holders which you can pull out and put down here in the passenger's footwell if you need to move them. So the only real added benefit of spending the extra amount on the GT RS is just for the handling upgrade, because you're pretty much getting the same interior on the GT without having to upgrade things like your suspension, your wheels, and your brakes. Now you do have a bit of storage on the inside here. You do have this little storage box there, and you do have a lockable box here in the middle, which is sort of like your glove box. And of course, this is the soft top version of the MX-5, which means you get the iconic manually operated soft top, which is really easy to throw forward and lock. Yep, I really like that. So much easier than waiting for an electronic roof. And you actually get a little parcel shelf back here when you have the roof up, which is again, very practical in a car that has 0 boot space. Now there's no actual performance upgrades to the engine. It's still the same 2-litre petrol 4-cylinder producing 135 kilowatts, around 180 horsepower. There is this strut bar that runs across the top here, but that's really about it. And in terms of servicing, it's actually quite cheap to service this thing over a longer period of time. And so yeah, this car comes with a 5-year unlimited kilometer warranty, which is pretty standard, but then I did use Mazda's service calculator to find out that this thing would cost you $5,880 over 16 services, or up to 160,000 kilometers, because the service intervals are every 12 months or every 10,000 kilometers. So to be honest, long-term ownership and price of owning this car actually isn't too bad. And despite its small size, this still scores a 5 out of 5 from Australia's ANCAP safety rating system, which is still pretty good. So if you're worried about safety in a small car like this, turns out it's not too much of a problem. But now it's important to see if $10,000 really makes the difference when driving this thing. You already know the Mazda MX-5 is a brilliant car, and I've really enjoyed it so much in my previous tests that I would actually go out and buy one. But this is the better one. This is going to be $10,000 better than that MX-5 that I drove. So I'm here on some twisty roads to see if that really is the case. First of all, some people complain this car is a bit too bumpy because of the extra suspension upgrades that we've got here from Bilstein. And I can tell you what, it's really not that bumpy at all. It's quite comfortable, and even on the highway drive up here, not an issue. So I don't really see that as a big complaint. I don't even think the 17-inch wheels are that much of a difference either. Sure, it is a bit more firm, I will agree with that, but I wouldn't say it's bumpy and uncomfortable. Now for the engine, same 2-litre 4-cylinder, 135 kilowatts, 180 horsepower, rear-wheel drive. The setup is exactly the same, and it's exactly what makes this car brilliant. And as for the brakes, well, we've got Brembos on here, so they do act nice and bitey at the front where your weight transfer is going to occur. So I can sort of understand why Brembos are only on the front, but I don't really entirely understand why they're only on the front either. I just sort of think if you're going to do the front, do the back as well for the extra price tag. And yeah, look, overall it's a fine package. It looks better than the base model, I'll say that, and especially with these GT upgrades like the better seats, better interior, and I do like the color match doors here as well. It does feel like a more premium product, but is it worth $10,000 more? I don't think so. I think unless you don't want to spend your own time and your extra money as well on top of already spending the car, you want it all included for whatever reason, then the GT RS makes a good case for itself, because the $10,000 is roughly on par for how much it's going to cost you to source the wheels, the tires, the suspension, the brakes, and get that all upgraded. And so there's going to be labor on top of that as well. But like I said, for a lot of people, the base base MX-5 offers plenty of fun, and for some, having a more playful car might be just a bit more interesting than something that's a bit more of a scalpel, which is this car here, because it's a bit more direct in its steering, and you know, you can sort of you really can take advantage of all the power this car has to offer, because you're not losing it to body roll or anything like that. But to be honest, I didn't really find that as a major complaint with the other cars. So yes, while these upgrades are nice, I don't think they're entirely necessary. So there it is. I would say get the Mazda GT-RS if you don't have the time or don't really want to go out and hunt for your own upgrades. Instead, you have it here as a whole package. Now, truthfully, I was sort of hoping for something a little bit more when you put something as aggressive as an RS badge on a car like this, but I'm pretty happy with the upgrades. But what I would have liked to seen is maybe a slight power bump and maybe a bit more excitement out of the exhaust to really up the ante and make this a more exciting car over the GT. So yes, I would recommend you go and buy this car, but I would probably suggest the base model first, because that's the car I would actually buy to save myself a little bit of money. Thanks for watching, and if you watched right until the end, this looks a little bit different because my camera did die, so I'm filming this on my phone. If you like how it looks, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.